let's get right into it. We all know Facebook, right? Chances are you've used it or one of its apps, maybe even today. But have you ever really stopped to think about how it went from a niche website for college kids to this global system that basically runs our digital lives? This isn't just a simple success story. No, this is a masterclass in strategy, control, and, building a modern-day monopoly.
And you've got to remember, it really did start small. Picture this. It's 2004, a Harvard dorm room. The idea was just to connect with classmates. And back then, it wasn't even that special. You had giants like MySpace and Friendster running the show. Facebook was just another face in a very crowded room. But fast forward to today, and wow, what a different world. It's not just a website anymore, not even close. It's this massive ecosystem that has a grip on the attention of billions of people. It literally owns its biggest potential rivals and sets the rules for the entire social media landscape.
So that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth did Mark Zuckerberg pull this off? How did Facebook so completely dominate the game? Well, the answer isn't luck. It was a series of incredibly calculated and, honestly, audacious moves. So let's pull back the curtain and unpack that playbook. Okay, first things first, let's rewind back to the beginning. Facebook's journey from that dorm room to total dominance was anything but an accident. It was all about a few key decisions made early on, back when social media was basically the Wild West. So how did Facebook stand out? Well, while competitors like MySpace were all about chaotic, glittery, customizable pages, Facebook did the exact opposite. It was clean, it was simple, and here's the kicker, it was exclusive. You needed a university email to get in, which created this trusted, walled garden. It felt like a community, not just another chaotic website. But a great design and an exclusive feel can only get you so far. Pretty early on, Mark Zuckerberg came to a fork in the road, and the choice he made would define the company for well over a decade. Was it about making money now, or was it about chasing something way, way bigger? This choice became the absolute core of Facebook's philosophy. So here was the decision. The standard startup playbook says you find a way to get profitable fast. Zuckerberg just tossed that book out the window. He decided to put one thing above absolutely everything else: growth. Get more users. Keep those users on the platform for as long as possible. The money? We'll figure that out later. The goal wasn't profit, it was total scale. And this whole strategy was built on one profound insight. Zuckerberg understood that in this new digital world, the most valuable currency wasn't the dollar. It was human attention. If you could capture and hold people's attention, the money would eventually follow. This single idea was the engine for everything Facebook did next. So, Facebook got huge. But as it grew, so did the number of competitors nipping at its heels. The growth over profit model built a giant, sure, but even giants can be challenged. The strategy had to evolve. It wasn't enough to just outgrow your rivals anymore. Now is time to eliminate them. This timeline right here, it tells the whole story. These are the turning points. In 2012, Facebook makes this move that just shocks the tech world by buying Instagram, a red-hot competitor. Then, just 2 years later, they do it again, but even bigger, with WhatsApp. The message couldn't be clearer. If a new app starts capturing people's attention, Facebook will either own it or it will crush it. Let's just sit with this first number for a second. $1 billion for Instagram. An app with like 13 employees and zero revenue? Wall Street thought Zuckerberg was insane. But you see, he wasn't buying a photo app. He was buying the future. He saw a threat that was winning over the mobile audience way faster than Facebook was. Paying $1 billion was about buying time and taking a dangerous rival off the board before it was too late. And then this happened. $19 billion for WhatsApp. I mean, the number was just astronomical. But again, the logic was exactly the same. It was all about attention. WhatsApp had billions of hours of its users' time locked up. And to Zuckerberg, that was an asset worth any price. It was a direct purchase of human attention, making sure it stayed inside his growing digital fortress. Okay, so what happens if a competitor just says no? What if they won't sell? Well, that brings us to part 2 of the strategy. If you can't buy them, bury them. The best example? Snapchat Stories. Facebook saw how popular it was, tried to buy Snapchat, and got turned down. So what did they do? They just copied the feature and plastered it across Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. They used their massive scale to basically suffocate their rivals' growth. So you combine that relentless focus on growth, these massive strategic acquisitions, and a ruthless copycat strategy, and what do you end up with? You don't just get a really big company. You get something else entirely. You get a closed, self-reinforcing ecosystem built to capture human attention. And these are the three pillars holding up that whole ecosystem. To us, they feel like separate apps on our phone, right? But underneath, they operate as one unified system, all controlled by a single company. Each one is engineered to grab a different slice of our day: our public lives, our visual side, and our private chats. Which brings us to the very heart of this. When we say Facebook is a monopoly, what does that actually mean? Because, it's a little different from the old school monopolies of the 20th century. This right here is the key takeaway of this whole thing. A digital monopoly, it's not just about being big, it's about control. It's about having such a powerful, structural lock on the platforms, the data, and the flow of human attention that it's nearly impossible for a new competitor to even get started, let alone survive. So in the end, the strategy was never just about building one great app. It was this multi-layered attack. Scale faster than anybody, buy any rising star that looks like a threat, copy anything you can't buy, and then weave it all together into an interconnected fortress that nobody can possibly breach. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on. If the name of the game is no longer about just having a single great product, but about building these huge, all-encompassing ecosystems, what does the future of competition and innovation even look like in our digital world? Something to think about.